Oh, hello one, hello all. It's the most hand-on-face ghost of them all, Caspa in the flesh. And it's time for a review of the VOIDZ-Like all before you. And what? You got something to say? You know, you would have enjoyed this album a lot more and been in a better mood if you had some of my famous pork chops. Are we talking about like plant-based pork chops, vegan pork chops? Nope. You have known me for years now. You know I'm a vegan. And you offer me non-plant-based pork chops. You have lost the narrative. You've lost the plot. You are everything that's wrong with society. And I want you to leave now. You're a disgrace as a human being. Hey, that's the last time I do something nice for you. Anyway, the VOIDZ, Julian Casablancas' experimental side project, and Julian Casablancas, if you didn't know, is also frontman to New York post-punk garage rock revival band The Strokes, which released two fantastic albums in the beginning of their career, and their latest album is a fantastic one too. If you haven't heard it, please do, which they released back in 2020, The New Abnormal, which I felt was a very refreshing and excellent direction for the band, while simultaneously having this experimental band right here, The VOIDZ, that has been really adventurous, psychedelic, experimental, and honestly, I enjoyed their debut, Tyranny, but I loved their second album, which was Virtue, and now we have this new LP from them, and honestly, I don't know what the hell happened here. Like, honestly, could we even call this an LP? Could we even call this an album? Because it sounds like ill-defined afterthoughts of their previous LP and the LP before that. For one thing, the vocals are absolutely horrendous. Why are they sounding this bad? They should not be sounding this bad. They're just lathered in auto-tune, lathered in effects, and I can barely make out what Julian is saying half the time, which is hilarious because there is a line on here where he mentions where someone can't understand what he's saying. And there are spots on the first track where you could barely understand what he's saying because his vocals are so buried in the mix. Like, I feel like this is the equivalent of what would happen if you put Kanye from the 808 era at gunpoint and told him to make a bad New Order / Joy Division song. There's even moments where the production does not line up at all. Like, we're getting this hodgepodge and they're basically throwing crap at the wall at this point and seeing what sticks. Not to mention how awful the lyrics could be at some points, like on Prophecy of the Dragon, where I have no idea what they were doing here. We get these skittering sequence drums with these really bad, tacky, Ozzy Osbourne-esque riffs, provided by some really bad rapping from Julian. And there's even points on this record that can become repetitious, and we pretty much get the same guitar line. We basically get deja vu on the song All the Same, and I feel like it's taunting me at this point. So honestly, as I listen more and more, they're not bringing any new ideas here. And there are songs here that don't even sound done or go much of anywhere, like on 7 Horses. But look, I want to state I don't have a problem with auto. I think it could be used as a nice effect to add character to the album, but it just feels so unnecessary here and so overused. And to his credit, there are some songs where it's not used, like on Spectral Analysis, but the main issue of the song is how monotonous it sounds and how much of a tedious listen the song turns out to be. Especially with such a disturbing song topic of cult leadership, you would want something to bolster the egregious nature of this album, but instead it just goes absolutely nowhere. It's a fucking snooze fest. And the song Flexorcist, if that wasn't cringy enough, wait till you hear the actual song, which again is another example of bad New Order worship. But this time they're just taking all the cliches of new wave and just throwing it on there. They're just giving us cliche after cliche. And the vocals on here, the instrumentation on here, the production on here sounds so ridiculous, so ill-conceived. If you were to tell me this was a VOIDZ parody band, I would have to believe you. And we also get some weird spoken word pieces at the end of this track that sounds like bad Dire Straits. Like, there's so many moments on here that are so dull, super flat, uninteresting, and super obnoxious. That just leads me to ask, did you even try? Like, are these even songs that you've recorded that are new, that are previously recorded? Especially given how daring they've been in the past with their first LP, with their second LP. But Julian just sounds so uninspired here. The band just sounds like they're running on E when it comes to ideas, especially on the track Perseverance, where the track just goes absolutely nowhere over these super drab keys. Or there's super derivative moments where they sound like they're parodying other bands, like Vampire Weekend. Yes, this sounds like a bad satire of Vampire Weekend, like on All the Same. And to be honest, it sounds like a Vampire Weekend parody song that never gets started. It lacks all the catchiness, all the melody, it lacks the charm, and it just sounds so unorganic. It sounds so fake. Almost as fake and unrealistic as this AI cover here. Yes, this AI cover right here. It just comes off so artificial, tacky, flavorless, not exciting at all. There's no adventure when it comes to the versatility. It just feels like the versatile moments are just bad derivative elements they just threw on here. Like, where did the care and detail go? Like, this sounds so lazy and goofy, and they could do so much better than this. Like, the song to me that takes the laughably bad derivative cake would be When Will the Time of the Bastards End? That sounds like a bad version of if Typo Negative wanted to do a Video Killed the Radio Store type song. And it just sounds so corny in a very unironic way. So yeah, as a fan of the VOIDZ work, as a fan of Julian Casablancas' work, I just feel really disappointed in this one. Like, this is lower than low effort here. It's lazy, it's gross, it's obnoxious. I expected way more. I expected a better comeback than this. That's not to say that he hasn't been involved in lackluster projects before. Strokes have put out some duds in the past, but at least there were some enjoyable tracks on those albums, on their worst. But this one, I just can't find any. It just sounds like a bunch of demos they just scrounged up and passed off as a brand new LP. Here you go. I'm feeling a 0 on this one. A 0. But that's just how I'm feeling on it. You've given this a listen. What did you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? I'm Caspa. I'm your plug. Please sub. Show me some love. Give me the comment, even if it's some nonsense. Caspa, the VOIDZ, till we meet again.